A very good evening to Miss Ida, my lecturer. On this day, I, Michael Francis, will be talking about a subtopic of mental health called suicide. I will be talking about suicide. Now, what is suicide? What is it? Suicide is the act of taking your own life. In other words, it is the act of killing yourself. There are a few causes of suicide. Firstly, there is substance abuse. When a person abuses drugs or alcohol, that person could lose their sanity and they will eventually end up killing themselves. So one of the causes is substance abuse. One of the other causes of suicide is mental illness, such as depression. Depression is a serious mental illness, and it can have a negative impact on a person's mind, and it will cause the person to have so many negative thoughts until the person decides to commit suicide. Besides that, there is also family history of suicide. People who have family members who have committed suicide are more likely to commit suicide. Another cause of suicide is significant loss. By significant loss, I mean loss of a loved one, for example, a loved one passing away, or maybe something like loss of job, like even unemployment can lead towards suicide. Now, what are the risk factors? You must look at the risk factors of suicide. Firstly, there is withdrawal from friends. If you see someone withdrawing and isolating themselves, that could be a sign that that person might want to commit suicide. Secondly, there is sadness and hopelessness. If that person is very, very sad and down all the time, that could be a sign of suicide. And lastly, there is the lack of interest in activities. If one person is suddenly always down and bored and suddenly not interested in his favorite hobby, that could be a sign that that person might just commit suicide. How can we find a solution to the terrible issue of suicide? There is a solution. Firstly, we can always talk about it openly. Do not hesitate to talk. You must not hesitate to approach someone who you think has the potential of committing suicide. You mustn't be afraid to talk to people with mental illness. You have to talk to them and make them open up to you. Raise the subject of suicide. Do not be scared to raise the subject, because if you do not raise the subject and approach these people will keep these negative feelings in their hearts and keep all of these negative emotions in their minds and bury their feelings, and in the end they will just carry on with the suicide. As a conclusion, when it comes to suicide, we must be aware of the causes of suicide, the risk factors, and also the ways to overcome this problem. The government must take the initiative to organize campaigns to instill the awareness of preventing suicide in the minds and hearts of our society. That is all from me. Thank you.